appreciate Sweet Old Bill's hosting. Round of applause for Sweet Old Bill. A lot of excitement right now. A lot of exciting stuff. And we start off with women's basketball and Coach Chelsea. Vendry, Chelsea, thank you again. Congratulations on another terrific season last year. What's the excitement level going into this year?
Thank you. First, thank you guys for coming out for the first one. It's nice to see so many familiar faces. Yeah, I mean, the excitement's there. Our girls are motivated. They're excited for this season. You know, obviously we're happy with what we did last year, but last year actually doesn't matter, and this team hasn't done anything. So that's kind of been the talk and the focus. So we have a new team, we have new goals, and it's a new season. So we can be happy with what we did, but it has nothing to do with what we're going to do this year. We have to go out and earn it and improve it every day in practice and every game.
With so much time in between the end of last year and then to this first coaches show, what did the offseason look like? I know your goals and your focus 20 days away with the opener, but what kind of a snapshot of what the offseason looked like for you and your program?
A lot of individual work, especially at the end of last year and then this summer, getting a lot of shots up and just the breakdowns of what we want to do offensively and defensively, and putting them in smaller groups and working a lot on the individual. And we wanted to become better basketball players this summer, which hopefully in turn makes us a better team. If all of around at all 5 positions we get to be better at basketball. So that was our focus this summer.
Continuity is such a big thing throughout athletics. It's really something that eludes a lot of programs, but your staff and a good number of players have remained constant. How big is that continuity in that be for you guys?
It is. It's huge. You maintain the continuity and the standard of excellence and culture and your expectations of what you want day in and day out in practice. You know, it has been huge. We really haven't been hit too bad with transfers. People come here, they like it, and they want to stay, and they want to take our program to the next level. So that's definitely helped us get to where we are right now, and hopefully at the start of another great year and another opportunity to earn a championship.
No doubt. And one of the returners, one of the figure preseason perhaps player of the year, conference player of the year, Nevaeh Zavala. She was so big for you guys. She can stretch the floor. What have you seen from her kind of in that offseason? What are your expectations for her?
Yeah, I think every year May's gotten more comfortable in her system. She's gotten louder. She's been voted captain again this year. You know, she was definitely a force for us inside, finishing up the rim last year. But this summer she's shot the ball extremely well. So she's gone left too. So we've added a couple things to her game. But if she continues to shoot the ball like she has this summer in this preseason, people are going to have a hard time guarding it.
I remember in the past when Aaliyah Collins first got into the program, you said you were a little time. She's going to continue to do great things. She had a full season last year. She's got another off season under her belt. It seems like she could be primed for another big year.
Definitely. I mean, Aaliyah's speed just changes things for any team that she's on, and it's going to change things for who you go against. When she plays for a completely different team, she's able to get to the paint. She's done a much better job of finding shooters this year. We scrimmaged 35 minutes last week before they had a couple days off. She had, I think, 25 points, 7 assists, and 1 turnover. So, you know, she's playing really well, and when she plays with confidence, I think she's as good of a point guard as you can get. So I'm really excited to see what she can do. She disrupts things on the defensive end. Her speed causes problems on the offensive end, and if she continues to find shooters like she has, she's going to be a big problem.
One of the best energy players I felt on your team, and in the past as well as Angel. And she's been around the program a lot. She always brings people up. What are you kind of expecting from her? Because she may not start every game, but she makes an impact whether she's on the floor or whether she's off the floor.
Yeah, Anna as well had a really good summer. This is the first summer she came in. She spent a few weeks with us. Usually we allow her to stay home with being away from her family overseas all year. But you know, she had a really good summer again. She's shooting the ball extremely well right now, and it makes it a lot harder to guard when you have someone that can get to the paint like Aaliyah can, and then 4 people around her that are just shooting at an extremely high percentage. So Anna's had a great offseason. She's working. She's showing up. She's working on her defense. And so I'm really excited about her, where she's at right now, and what kind of season she can have.
Now, with any program, of course, you lose a couple of players going into the following season. Nakia Terrell, Lauren Scott, Shaq Baskerville, just to name a few. How do you kind of see your team kind of filling those roles? I know it's always the next player up, but how do you try and fill those holes with some pretty impactful players throughout their tenure?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have an impact on our team. Like, Micaiah played for 4 years. She played as a freshman and, was a great leader for us. So, it's tough filling that void, especially leadership-wise and understanding what you want to do. But we brought in some really good players, and I'm really excited about them. And they've caught on to what we want to do and how we want to play. And proven to be smart players, and it's been pretty seamless so far. So hopefully that'll continue.
Next point was going to be those newcomers. How about Lexi Fleming? I think she probably grabbed a lot of the headlines just with how prolific of a scorer she is. But it looks like she can really do a lot of other things other than just put the ball in the field.
She can, and she, again, players coming in and proving themselves. She came in, this is her first year here, and she was voted one of the captains by her teammates. Just her communication on the floor, she uses communication to help her teammates play, and we talk about that a lot. Like, you can talk a lot on the floor, and it has no impact to what your teammates are doing or what happens in the game. And she's really bought into that, and when she's talking, she's making her teammates better defenders, better offensive players. So she's been huge in that aspect. And then, like you said, offensively, her efficiency is crazy. She can pass the ball. She shoots the three at an extremely high level, and she's a good cutter, high IQ. So she's had a very good preseason, and I am really excited about her.
What's kind of that recruiting process look like when you go into the transfer portal for some of these different players? When you pick up someone like Fleming, pick up some of these other newcomers, what's kind of your philosophy? How do you say, hey, of course, High Point's a great place to be. Not everyone knows that. You go out, you tell them that, go turn around.
Yeah, we do send stuff out about campus right away, trying to show off what we have, saying that we want to build championships. A lot of these players that are leaving, they want to go, and they want to go somewhere that they have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. Girls, they're playing basketball and they want to go to the NCAA tournament. So, we kind of lead with that, and that's our expectations, and that's our goals. And, we just want to find the best players that are going to fit with what we want to do and help us achieve our next goal.
Reckon Sneller, another one of those transfers coming over from ETSU. She can kind of stretch the floor. She's a bit taller. She can play kind of guard, maybe down low is the way you wouldn't have been able to us. But how do you see her role kind of impacting and unfolding?
Early, she's made a big impact on the defensive end. That kid is as hard-nosed as you're going to get. She'll step up. She'll take charges. She'll block out 6 people if they're behind her. She's going to get in there, and she is going to give 100% effort the entire time. It doesn't matter if it's a layup line drill, whatever it is, she's going to bust her butt and give you her best. And I absolutely love working with her. She's starting to understand where her opportunities are coming in her offense. She's worked really hard on her shot this summer. I think she's definitely going to give us a good spark, especially on the defensive end. She's made a lot of plays and made us better.
You touched on the captains a little bit there. Is it a player-driven process for the captains? Do you guys have any say? How does that go into it? Because it's a big honor to have bestowed upon anyone.
How we do it is if they want to be considered for captain, they have to do a book club with me. So we read a book in the preseason, usually about leadership or whatever the theme to be for that year. And then after they've completed the book club, then the players will vote on which captain.
Very nice. It's a unique way of doing it, but it's given pretty clear results for the players. That's very cool. Depth is another big thing throughout college basketball, throughout college athletics. It's felt like, on both even the men's and the women's side, you've had an embarrassment, which is players that can come off the bench and immediately impact. How do you kind of see the depth for your team this year?
Yeah, I mean, offensively, we have as much depth, I think, as we've had since I've been here. We have a lot of scorers. Macy Spencer from UNLV, man, the kid can play. She can go. She came from a winning program. She shoots the three at an extremely high level. She's been able to get to the basket. She's a little bit bigger of a guard. So you put her in there with Aaliyah and Lexi, and then we have Shauna, who's playing as well as she has. And she was really coming into her own at the end of the season and understanding her opportunities, and she's understanding that even better now. We do have a lot of depth, especially offensively. So, where it's going to separate, where the kids are going to earn their time on the floor, is going to be on the defensive end and ability to execute a game.
Before we heard about the telescope and the microscope, trying to keep the short term with the long term. How do you feel like that balance is going as we get 20 days, just 20 days from the season opening?
Yeah, we talked about that. So that was from book club last year. This year we read Chop Wood, Carry Water, and it's the main theme of that was falling in love with the process and day to day, and that gets you through the hard times and understanding that there is a bigger picture, but it's the day to day that's going to get you to your goal in the end. So our thing this year is a little more Chop Wood, Carry Water, but we definitely think about the telescope of where we want to be, but day in and day out we have to think about the microscope and what do we have to get better at today, and what is our focus every single day to get us ultimately to our goal.
And how do you balance kind of those first couple of opponents scouting the field? And now Johnson C. Smith, one of those first the exhibitions as well. How impactful is the game plan going into some of those early matchups?
Yeah, early on it's tough. One, everybody has new players. There's transfers. They might run different stuff depending on what their personnel is. And then there's schools with new coaches, so you honestly have no idea what they're going to run. So in situations like that, we'll look for personnel and tendencies and try to take players out of how they want to score. If they have transfers, those transfers probably have clips from their past school. We can go and watch them and see what their tendencies are and how they want to score, and give the players a game plan to take them out of that.
Any questions for Coach? All right. Oh, we got one. Hold on. Defensive strategy for the day. Make space with bang.
Who's our best help defender, you're saying? Honestly, Shauna, you saw her in the conference tournament last year. She took 6 charges in the last 2 games. That's going to be huge. So we've talked a lot about our gap defense and, stunning at every catch. And if you're going to go help your teammate, you have to make a play on the ball. You have to make an impact, and you have to either stop the driver, you have to deflect the pass, but we can't have 2 players go to the ball and 2 players get beat. So that's what we worked on a lot. Anna's been doing a pretty good job at her help. I will say this is where we're going to miss Jaleesa the most. She's probably one of the best help defenders that we've ever had here. When she went, she made an impact on the play. She got a ton of deflections. She made posts turn the ball over. So, we're going to need to find that person. But, we've been working on it, and we have a few people willing to do it. Hopefully all of them are willing to do it. But, yep.
Defensive schematic changes.
We're running some different actions offensively that just fit what our players are good at and the personnel that we have. So a little bit. It's still just putting in a lot of actions and teaching our players, hey, play to your teammates' strengths, right? And trying to get them in those situations where they start doing it on their own, and I don't have to call quick hit or play every single time. So offensively, we have some new action. I like them. We look really good in practice, so it's either really good offense or really bad defense. I'm not sure.
We're hoping it's the really good offense.
I'm hoping it's really good offense.
Coach, we appreciate the time. 20 days, really excited.
Thank you, man.
Up next, men's soccer with Coach Zach Haynes. Coach, thank you for joining us. It's been a really exciting season for your program so far as well. Ranked top 5 in the United Soccer Coaches Poll right now as well. How has this all unfolded in your mind? What are your impressions so far in the early stages through 12 games?
Yeah, really happy with the staff, with the players. We've had a great season so far. We loaded up arguably our toughest schedule we've ever had, and we've executed so far as well as we could imagine. Top 10 in the area, top 5 in the country. So really proud of the guys for having a level of consistency that has allowed us to perform in every game but one. And other than that, I would say our mentality has been a strong suit of this group and has allowed us to really have high standards and expectations every time out, which has contributed to the success.
And what kind of is that? How would you describe that mentality of your team? Because it can change year by year. Of course, any coach will know that each group is different than the last. How would you kind of describe the mentality of your team?
I think firstly the mentality is that we are not a mid-major. We are not a Big South men's soccer program. We're a top 25 nationally relevant men's soccer program. We're an elite program. And so when we go into these quote-unquote big games versus sweatshirt schools, power conferences, it's not a feeling of being the underdog and needing to pull out a scrappy result. We expect to win, and that's going back years now where we've been able to set that standard with a lot of big wins as well as taking care of business in the conference. So it starts with the standards, and then it, of course, is materializing with good leadership where they make sure every class that comes in understands the challenge and understands the mindset that is required to perform and execute at that level. So I would have to give a massive amount of credit to our senior class in particular because it's full of four-year guys. They came to High Point for a reason, and they've paved the way to new heights.
Unquestionably. And I mean, that goes hand in hand talking about
how you guys schedule. We talked about the RPI for a moment as well. You don't shy away from the big games. Teams shy away from you guys because they know that if they schedule you, it can go wrong for them. You guys have played some really heavyweight opponents this year.
We do. We want that every year, and we try to play everyone. We try to play Carolina, Wake Forest, and Duke every single year. We're the first one that responds to anything on their email listserv asking for a game. We make it a point to be the first reply within 5 seconds, and then we get ignored. So we do our best. We might get one of them for preseason every so often, but that's about it. So we have to go a little bit further out and be more creative, like Georgetown, Marshall, these powerhouses in men's soccer that are not the North Carolina ACC programs. So we're willing to travel. We hit the road. We go overnights. We do whatever we need to do to get quad 1, top 25 competition.
Schools, like I said, you play these Georgetown, these Marshalls. When it comes to tournament play, that's got to be great for your club, knowing that you've been to these big-time matches in your back pocket.
Every time I
For sure.
every time I put in my AirPods, it goes away. So
Of course, it's part of the branding of the program. It's part of the recruiting process of showing top recruits that if you come to High Point, you're going to compete at the absolute highest level against the best players and the best teams. But ultimately, it's about putting us in a position to win at the end of the season. We feel if we can play the hardest possible schedule during the regular season, even if we take a few knocks along the way, that will allow us to be battle tested. That'll allow us to have the experiences to lean on to win knockout games at the end, which it always has for us, thankfully. And we just continue to try to push those limits so that we can go as far in the postseason as possible.
you touched on the senior class, and now you're kind of what does that mean kind of to have these guys stick around for 4 years? You know, they've come to High Point, they want to win, they want to try and reach those lofty goals. What does that mean to you as a coach and kind of your program to see these guys buy in entirely?
Well, I take it as a compliment. I hope that it means that they love our university, they love our athletic department, they love our program, and they love their teammates and they love their coaches because we're talking about guys that are going to be MLS draft picks. We're talking about guys that at any point could have gone anywhere in the country if they wanted to hit the portal. And they came to High Point for a reason out of high school, and they've stayed with us, and they've, like I said, paved the way to new heights. So we love that to be the fabric of our program. Obviously, we're going to be prudent with our recruiting, where we're going to look at every single avenue, transfer portal, international, to help our team be successful. But the lifeblood of it, the bulk of the team, the core of the team, the foundation of the that way, when you bring in guys that address certain needs from the portal that are maybe more short term, they know how to meet the standards right away because they're following the guys that have been doing it year after year.
You touched on the transfer portal. Dylan Lugo's getting a lot of highlights this year. He's getting a lot of accolades, and rightfully so. He's got 8 goals so far. He's leading some of that offensive momentum. What has impressed you most about how he's really blossomed in his season?
Exactly what I just said. He's a guy that came from North Carolina, was a top recruit coming out of high school. We tried to recruit him out of high school. We didn't get him on the front end, so he went to UNC to have a good experience. Didn't quite get a real opportunity for 2 years. And he came to us because some of his former teammates from his youth days are with us now, and they're thriving, and they love what the program's about. And so it ended up being a pretty straightforward decision for him. And he never came in with any kind of preconceived notions or any kind of ego coming from the ACC. He felt this was a step forward in his career, and he bought in immediately. And we had him all spring, summer, and now he's here with us, and he's obviously put himself on the map as one of the best players in the country. He's a Herman watch list, mid-season guy, and we're extremely happy with him.
Bradford coming up for you in your next match. What are the highlighters show you? How are you game planning for Bradford?
We're game planning like we do for every single away game in the Big South. Like we have for the last 7 years. We don't take anybody for granted. It does not matter what their record is. It doesn't matter what their RPI is. It doesn't matter who they play. It's always going to be something different, something very much catered to getting a result against High Point. And it's probably a little different than any other game we've played all season. So we respect the opponent, and we go out there with really high expectations for our performance, and hopefully that's enough to get the job done.
Absolutely. Any questions for Coach? Is it a handball against Mark?
Letter of the law says yes, but extremely harsh. The handball rule changes worldwide about every year, and they continue to redefine it. So we were on the wrong end of the definition this year, but hey, karma comes around. We'll hopefully get the right end of it here when it matters in the postseason.
Any other questions for Coach? Coach, congratulations on the season so far. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Best of luck this year.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate the support.
Women's cross country coming up next with Remy Tate. So, Coach, 3 meets in the book so far, a couple more still to go. In your mind, how have things progressed according to how you had kind of had those preseason expectations? What's the snapshot view for you?
We're fine, and we did not come here to be fine.
Okay.
Good or great is what we accept, and following up after Coach Ames, for example, there's a standard that we at High Point University expect of ourselves to be exceptional, and we're not bad. That's good. It's okay. But I think we have more in there. So these last 3 meets have been okay. They've been data points. That's all we need to see that we're off track a little bit, and we'll find it. We're in championship season now. We have one more regular season meet before we go to the Big South Championships and the NCAA regional competition. So it's time for our athletes to level up. They came here as girls. It's time to be a woman and start handling business. And I love it. That's what players, coaches, I think love that challenge.
And that challenge isn't easy, and especially, you know, of course, better than anyone in a sport like cross country. There's a lot of mental fortitude that goes into that, and I'm sure it's still trying to sharpen that before it gets to the true ultimate championship scene.
Absolutely. We have a saying that what we do is 98% physical and 2% mental. But the 2% controls all of the 98. You can do all of the training and all of the discipline and all of the hard work. But if you do not have a great deal of intestinal fortitude, and you're not mentally tough, and you cannot execute on the stage, all that training goes to waste. And so a lot of what we do feels like therapy. It feels like sports psychology, and I'm not opposed to that. I understand.
something you talked about before, Brandon Malone, consecutive Big South champion. And again, you guys don't want to hold yourself to the Big South standard. You want to be the national standard, so to speak. It feels like she's still continuing to get better and trying to reach that national standard as well.
Brianna is getting better, that's true. And, you know, we have to be careful of breaking our lead and patting ourselves on the back. Sure. I would like to think if she's showing up every day, she better be getting better. I, as a coach, this is my 10th year at High University. If I am still turning in the same results that I was 10 years ago, that's a problem. So, I don't take away from her. I believe she's an extremely exceptional human being. She's a great leader. I'd bet on her to win another Big South championship. But I think if she was sitting here, she would agree. That's what we're doing. She didn't wake up at 4:45 this morning to get after it to be okay. She's trying to progress, and I'm along with her. And she's not alone. Her teammates are swinging for the fences too. So when we track our progress, we're not looking for perfection. We are looking for progress. We're looking for are we moving closer to that ideal version?
What does that progress look like for you in your program? Of course, it is in the form of better race results and whatnot, but kind of between the lines, what does continued steady progress look like for you?
We can do the X's and O's stuff, which is boring for a conversation like this. We can talk about weekly running volume. We can talk about how many miles they're running a week. We can talk about how fast they're running. We can talk about the weight room. Are they deadlifting from 185 to 205? Yes, they're moving in the right direction. Brianna, for example, is running 75 miles a week, 75 to 80 currently. Last year it was up to 60, and in high school it was 40. So she's getting after it. But in between the lines, recruiting. What are we bringing in? And I'm not just talking about their performances as high schoolers. Who are they? Who are the character? What are the character traits and who are the personalities that will be joining our team? Because our culture is strong now, but it's an ever-evolving ecosystem. It's only as good as the input. Eventually, it can be so strong that it's sort of self-sustained, but we have to make sure we're feeding it really good members, meaning we're bringing in some strong women that want to care to serve something bigger than themselves and want to be part of a team that is everything's for them. And when we track our progress, we're looking at a lot of intangible things like team culture. That's hard to measure. You see it symptomatically, but you don't know what's our score. We 86% team culture.
There's no number for something like that.
No, I would like to think that the science to coaching, but the art is a big portion of it. The longer you coach, that art becomes focus. You start to think more about the arts. And tracking progress for me becomes a lot more artful task. I can't run an Excel file and tell you, this is perfect. I can say, I went to practice this morning, the energy was good, the women were engaged, body language was strong, they seem invested in the units and training. That's progress. We're going to get that strong.
You've been here, as you said, for 10 years. How have you kind of seen that evolution in your coaching style with kind of the soft skills, so the art of coaching, so to speak, because you have that many seasons under your belt, things are going to change. How have you tried to adjust with that knowledge base that you have throughout this season?
Well, I'll start by saying I'm still a dummy. I make a lot of mistakes.
I'm with you there, so
I've learned to take things on the chin a little bit better. I am a fighter, but I've learned to think more chess than checkers. Understanding what moves need to be made, not just X's and O's, but just emotional. And psychological communication skills, learning how to work the arts into getting the best out of each individual. And I'm nowhere close to being an exceptional coach. I got a long way to go. I think that our results are still, they're behind what my goals are and what our athletes' goals are as well. But as long as we all agree, this is a process of constant change and critical views and looking to grow. You have to unlearn parts of yourself and make room for new parts. If we can agree to do that, here we are. You can get a group out there and get some action. So you can't start with
absolutely. And you get, as you said, championship season upcoming with the number of Big South championships you guys have had. I think you just want to get to that next level, like you said. What's kind of the final stretch of preparation going to look like for you guys? You talked about kind of your mental. Is there anything else that you may be thinking going into this last thing and say, hey, we really have to focus on that?
The physical preparation for a championship is the easiest thing, I believe. You can plan a season of training out long in advance. Peaking is emotional. It's about setting a stage, an emotional stage in practice. It's about shifting the way you communicate with your athletes and your team leaders. It's about having your leaders communicate with their teammates differently. So going into championship season, as we progress into the next month, which is where these big races will take place, it's an emotional shoot. It's a little bit more powerful. It doesn't mean that we change any of our values. It just becomes, they get used to this feeling of pressure that's coming. You don't get to pick and choose the requirements of the sport. Instead, you can either choose to prepare for them or not. So we prepare for them. When it comes to the emotional tax you have to pay to be a high-level performer, it's our job in training every day interactions to get that level. So that when we step on that stage, I didn't say you're not going to be nervous, but we're going to be prepared.
One question. Do we have any questions for Coach? Amount of individualized training program as well as number of miles a week.
So, and that could be the science, right? There's a lot of science in there too. But so, our top athletes are like anywhere between 70 and 80 miles a week. We have athletes that are running, which, those are one level pretty well. It's my job as a coach to figure that out. And that's one of the selling points that we have in our program. That is not the case across the entire play. There's a lot of ways that we should say, this is training and formula. We can do all of it with a formula. It works for your way. It's not. So I gotta go. I would understand why someone got into coaching and got me a pace. The best part about coaching is solving puzzles. And so I bring an athlete, even in the recruiting process, I'm asking them, what are you doing now? I'm calling your high school coach. Why do you do that? Even though the workout is what are they doing? Are they smiling? Do they, do they hate the long things, the long runs, or what they're talking about? Is they really love the grind of that 2 hour session? I'm going to start to put together a profile. And I'm doing these individual profiles for each athlete so that, yes, they will fit into our team idea or under our umbrella of excellence. But I have to make sure that each person gets what they need to excel because I am not doing any of them a favor. I'm doing myself. If they're hurt, overtrained, undertrained, or poorly handled. And I would say the same thing with them. If they, what I said, the line that is most common with our recruits is, your goal is for you to be better. Yes, my goal is for you to be better. And we're working together at this point. We're going to figure out the answer. I don't care if you got to do 3 bar drills before every race and that makes you run fast. The answer is you run fast and we'll do 3 bar.
Any other questions for Coach? Coach, best of luck for championship season the rest of the year.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Now we welcome men's basketball coach from Cleveland. Coach, it's been a whirlwind offseason, I'm sure, for you so far. The dust has settled a little bit. How do you feel like everything's coming into place as we begin to slowly, gradually get toward the start of the season?
I feel good. It's been a lot of hard work. But we're almost 60 practices in. So our guys are tired of being up there. They're ready to try to be up with somebody else. We've been putting the work in out there.
Let's go back to kind of the first kind of month or so when you were hired onto the job. What were the immediate kind of tasks that you went to and said, okay, we need to try and fill out the staff, we need to fill out the roster, we need to pick up other holes. How did you kind of attack some of your first couple of days, months on the job as the head man?
Well, first was just recruiting. I mean, that's the most important thing. there. So first went to work trying to keep the recruits that we had committed, and then went to work trying to fill out the roster. We did that relatively quickly. And then in terms of staff, I just wanted to get some people that I trusted, knew well. I thought that was really important. It was being my first time as head coach. Just people I don't have to look over my shoulder, know what they're doing, and try to get a couple older folks who've been in this longer than me. You know, so I was able to bring in one of my former college coaches, an assistant referee, and he's been in the game since a long time. Try to get experience on the staff, but put the players in front of the roster.
How did the kind of process go with divvying up some of that responsibilities and work? I'm sure that's an ever-evolving thing as the season goes, but amongst your coaching staff, when you brought people on, there probably was something where you said, hey, I want you to focus on this aspect or this aspect. How did that kind of divvying up process go?
Yeah, I mean, we're keeping it similar to what Coach Huss has. We have an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and a special teams coordinator. That was something a little different that he did than in most places, so I'm going to try to do those same things this year because it worked pretty well. So we divvied up those responsibilities, and then outside of that, it's just breaking up recruiting, skill work, you know, they're just academic oversight, like all those things are just things that you divide up amongst coaches. But in terms of the basketball piece, we'll stick with offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams. Special teams being out of bounds plays, in special situations, like late game stuff, and they, you know, they're responsible for having some things ready for us to execute against the other team, and knowing every single thing that they're going to do to us.
One of the things that's kind of a luxury that you have being promoted from already within the program, you have familiarity. And familiarity and continuity, we talked about it with Chelsea Vanbury earlier, that can be so key and so important. How important do you think that'll be for you kind of in your first full season as head coach?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge these days. It's more important than getting a bunch of talent. Really, the teams that have the continuity a lot of times overachieve. We were able to keep some good pieces last year. We were able to get Chase Johnson back. He was in the portal, got him back. Terry Anderson, who was huge in the conference tournament, who was battling an injury all year last year, but was an all-conference player before he came to us. At Lamar will be that relevant player this year. But having that continuity is huge. Even the walk-on players that we have back, just them knowing our culture, and them all wanting to stay says something about our program too.
And when it comes to culture, I know that's a popular buzzword, and I know Alan Huss have culture. Coaches, they have their own level of culture. Have you got to describe kind of what you're trying to instill within your program? How would you kind of view that?
I think our battle every day is just the fact that we have it so good here. And so keeping these guys hungry, helping them understand that we have a target on our back, we need to work like the school that has nothing. That's kind of the culture that we try to instill. We have to be the first and legit and the last to lead. You know, we have a system called Shot Tracker. There's 63 schools in the country that have Shot Tracker, and we're in the 90th percentile or higher every week in terms of shots taken. And I'm also wise enough to know that there's 8 other schools in the Big South that don't even have Shot Trackers. They can't. And that's what I try to tell our guys. Like, if we have stuff like this, we have to lead the country in work. You know, if we have such a big staff, bigger than other schools, we have to lead in scouting. We have to know every single detail of the opponent we're going against. So just trying to instill the mindset of being not being satisfied that we have, because we do have a pretty good working area going forward.
Absolutely. So keeping your guys hungry is going to be a big thing moving forward. And it feels like a lot of your guys, whether they come from other schools, whether they're going to be coming back, they kind of have that mindset. I'm sure that goes hand in hand with guys you wanted to bring into this program, coaching and player-wise.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you're trying to do when you get recruits is identify their personality, because there's a lot more talent than you might realize. There's so many talented players that you end up having to pass on, especially when you're at a place like this. So identifying guys who put the team first, guys who have statistical categories that spoke to their unselfishness, such as assist rates, good defensive ratings, good rebounders. We'll even watch guys on the bench when they're not in. Are they negative, or do they have a positive attitude? Are they happy for their teammates? All those things are so important.
When it comes to, again, bringing in some of those transfer guys, there's a lot of new guys that are going to be really exciting players as well. Vincent Brady II, Missouri State transfer, IU Indy as well. What did he show you and say, hey, this guy's going to be a real primetime player for us?
Yeah, so Vince was the first kid we signed after I became head coach. And, you know, he was an easy one. So we played him in the Cayman Islands, and he had 27 points and 10 rebounds on us and gave us problems. And that was actually our worst loss in 2 seasons, a 10-point loss. We had only lost So he was kind of easy. We knew who he was. And then there's a number of other great transfers as well.
Undoubtedly, you get Rod Martin, Cameron Fletcher, some of these other guys. It feels like it's going to be a great blend on this team of returners, newcomers, and college basketball veterans too. That's one of the nice things nowadays. You pick someone from the transfer portal, maybe they've spent 1 year in prior decade seasons, so on and so forth. You've got guys that are college basketball veterans coming into that know how to win.
Yeah, we've got 8 seniors again, and that's what you want these days. You need to stay old, get old, stay old. It's just a huge advantage. Rob Martin is an all-conference player last year at Southeast Missouri, which is, again, that's a place that doesn't have a lot. And I value that a ton. Because they come from that situation to ours, they're not going to take for granted what they had. But he was able to win 22 games there and win the regular season at a tough place to win. Led his conference in assist to turnover. Again, that's an unselfish stat right there. Like, I want to pass the ball, but he also can score. Owen Aquino from Liberty. Again, they had a great defense. He was an anchor of their defense. He's an all-around player. He can score, he can rebound, but he puts defense first. So he shot to the top of our list when we got in the portal. So just valuing those things outside of scoring, and then guys coming from places where they're going to really appreciate what they have here are going to be the main things we've identified with those transfers.
That's a big thing. And then it's, of course, not always easy to try and marry some of the upperclassmen, those guys that are the veterans you bring in, and still trying to bring along some of those younger players. How do you try and walk that line, especially in today's college basketball?
You know, I would say when we're looking at a freshman, it needs to be a super high character guy that we believe for some reason is going to stick around for a few years. If not, it's not worth the time to invest. I said in my interview process that this reminds me a lot of overseas basketball, the roster turnover you have every year. International basketball is not a development league. That's a win now league. And college basketball, a win now game. It's year to year, the best players you can get to win. With that, though, you do want to have some guys who are program guys, and it's just you got to identify those character traits of guys that perfectly fit your program and you think are going to stick around. Like Caden Miller is our main freshman that we have this year, and he checks every single box. Being high character, high upside, just a great development piece. It's hard to build your whole program off that now, but we're going to try to have 2 or 3 a year. And if we can keep 2 of them, if we have 3 guys and we can keep 2, that's probably a net positive.
Last year, Josh Abuka-Lanua was another one of those freshman guys who was high character, really intelligent, great basketball player as well. He's back for a sophomore season. It feels like he could have a big-time jump in his second season as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Him and Braden Housen from last year both check all those boxes we talked about. They've both gotten significantly better this offseason with the work we put in, and both of them are ready to take big steps this year, I imagine. They're looking good in practice.
How do you see some of these other pieces, these ancillary pieces, kind of stacking up as we get closer and closer into conference play, or into non-conference play, and then into conference play? It's got to be tough to try and balance who's going to be the starting 5, who's going to be the rotation pieces. How's that competition going?
Yeah, I mean, we openly talk about the competition. I had the guys fill out their 200 minutes. There's 5 players, 40 minutes total, so we got 200 minutes to divide up, and I asked them to divide it up. And then I also asked them to also say, what do you want individually? And so, when you take the individual minutes, well, that was about 305 minutes. So we got to find 105 minutes there. But it opens their eyes to what the reality of where they're at. So it's a tough balance, but we just attack it head on. Attack it head on and let them know that this is a competition within our team to who's the most valuable to this organization. And look, like I said, we identified the right kids. So far, these guys are all in on competing and also understanding that when decisions are made for who's going to start, who's not, they're going to be very supportive of each other. I don't think we have anybody in our locker room who's not going to be about the team winning when we get down to it. And I would add to it, you can't have a good team of having 15 guys who don't want to play or don't want to score. Like there comes a part that good players want individual things. They do. So we've tried to paint the picture to them of the reality of if you're doing this for your teammates and your organization, it's going to come back to you even more. And a lot of them were picked. I point out to them, a lot of you guys were picked to come to High Point because that's what you did at your previous school. You put the team first, you put the organization first. So we chose you. If you want to keep getting opportunities like this, you need to keep that mindset. That's what we tell them.
I probably appreciate this level of transparency as well. I mean, a lot of times in college basketball, that's not always the case, but this level of transparency, especially for a group that has several newcomers, has to feel like a breath of fresh air for this group that's coming in this year.
Yeah, this has kind of been my coaching style since I got here. So I don't think I'm smart enough to trick people or sell or this or that. Like I just tell them exactly what it is. Sometimes that means the kid's not going to come. A lot of times that means the kid thinks it's the best visit he's ever had. And I just get my kind of kids up front when I tell them honestly what I think. I mean, we show them on their visit their weaknesses. There's not a lot of places on a visit where you're going to put on the screen their weaknesses. You really only tell them how good they are. But I don't want guys that don't want to acknowledge their weaknesses and get better. So if you can't handle that on the visit, then let's just stop it right there. But ultimately, what it leads to, I think, is having a team full of winners.
Unquestionably. And one guy who's coming back who has been a winner at every stop, Chase Johnson. You touched on him just a little bit before. How exciting is it to have him back in the purple and white? I know he was a fan favorite last year. He's back. He's a sharpshooter. What's he going to bring to the table again?
Yeah, Chase is a prime example of sacrificing some of himself for the team. I mean, I don't know if people realize this, but his 3 years before he came here, he averaged 15 points a game every year. They didn't go to the tournament. And this year he decided to be a part of a better team, be more efficient, and win. And his value went up because of that. He was more valuable now in the portal than he was when he averaged 15 points a game on a rookie team. So he's an example to our team about what that means. He averaged about 7 points a game last year, and all that matters is that he won and he was part of the winning program. We're very excited about him. He has an interesting opportunity to be one of the top 20 3-point shooters in the history of college basketball. Now, he's had 6 seasons plus 9 games after this year. So that's a little asterisk on that. But
Still
a remarkable feat. I mean, the guy's just made a ton of shots over his career, and we couldn't be happier than that.
Well, as things begin to slowly iron themselves out when it comes to rotations and whatnot, offensively and defensively, what are kind of the principles, the hallmarks you're looking forward to hammering in as the season gets underway soon?
Offensively, it'll be very similar. Not having Bodo is a big difference, just because he's a unique piece. In a lot of ways, we can do a lot more things now, but we have to be better offensively in terms of just our X's and O's, because he was the #1 offensive rebounder in the country that covered up a lot. Even our own players, I don't think, realize how much his rebounding just covered up a ton of mistakes. So we're going to be able to maybe run a few more plays, a few more things that might, go on X and so this is a nice action or this and that. But it'll be very similar. And then we'll be able to play through our bigs a little more, because he was more just a finisher, a dunker. We have guys now who can dribble past shoot at that position. And then defensively, we got better in the second half of the season last year, and then we plan to continue that this year. We'll have a little different scheme in terms of just where we send the ball and just our fundamentals of what we're trying to do defensively. We'll try to force a few more turnovers, be a little more physical, and we should look different on the defensive end.
You said you've had 60 practices you've had so far. How excited are your players to get out there and eventually face some other competition and beating up on each other for so long? It feels like they've got to be chomping at the bit to get ready for Furman or some of the exhibitions as well.
Yeah, I mean they are more than ready. They're tired of beating up on each other. A lot of people don't realize how much these basketball players put in. It's 8 weeks in the summer, and then they were back a week early before school started. On top of that, and they're working all those weeks, and so it's a lot. But they love it, and they're excited to get really excited.
We heard Remy Taylor talk about how the copy and paste doesn't work quite as well. What does the regimen look like for your players in your program going into the offseason? Is it a little more individualized, or are the players saying, hey, I want to try and work on this? How does that kind of look? Because that can really vary depending on where you go.
Yeah, we in the summer we focus all on individual skill development and team offense. Not even plays, but just free flowing team offense. We didn't even put any of our defense in this summer, because the point of our defense is kind of to take people out of what they want to do offensively. That's been a little bit of a struggle in practice, is that we don't want our players practicing the defense they're not going to run. So our defense kind of takes you out of what you're going to run, so it gets hard to practice what we're going to run. So we have a scout team that does that, but it's coming along.
Absolutely. And then an exhibition coming up with the UNCW on Saturday. What's the scouting look like for that? Is it more just we want to try and work different things in there, work different players and roles that we're uncomfortable with? Or is this more of a dress rehearsal like, hey, this this is what I think we're going to go with. We're going to try and practice this as much as we can. What's that balance look like to you?
It won't be full game plan to win mode. It will be much more focused on we need to see lineups, we need to grow as a program, we need to. That's really what it's about. Like for example, we talk like me and other head coaches get talked about what we're going to do defensively, so that we're aware. We're not going to throw any surprises. There's not going to be anything like that that you would do in a game that you're trying to win. Now, I'm sure that they're going to have a pack out there and they're going to take this like the Super Bowl. But we're going to try to be mature about it and just make it about us growing and getting better. I'm not going to sub necessarily to win this game. We are going to sub to get better. We're going to sub to try lineups. And that's just the way, that's the smartest way to do it. When November 3rd comes, no one's going to all that's going to matter is we're ready to be firm.
NCAA also an exhibition at home. What's kind of the emotion you feel like, not only for the Aggies, but with Avery, that first game of the year, the first home game of the year, in between Furman, with Furman sandwiched in between there? What's kind of the emotions for you going to feel like walking out there, head coach, on top of the world with that program? It was in the NCAA tournament last year. It has to feel like it's going to be a terrific experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication to the game. And I'm sure I'll have some emotions, but when you're in the moment of competition, you're so wrapped up in what you need to do in that game. There's so many details in terms of our scouting and the preparation. And hopefully, I'm too caught up in that to be emotional, but I'm sure there'll be a moment where I'm feeling like, man, this is real, this is awesome, and couldn't be more blessed to be doing it here at High Point. That's my first opportunity in such an amazing place.
Absolutely. That season opener with Furman, how'd that kind of come about? Because the Paladins are a quality program. You see a lot of teams that have scheduled kind of a couple of home games in a row, which High Point has, but they're opening with a really tough opponent and a neutral floor. What was it, kind of the message to your team to say, we want to go out the gates, we want to challenge ourselves, we want to play a really good team, we want to play it to boot in a neutral side?
Yeah, so it was a debate in my head about how we should do this. Should we play an on-D1 at home or something like that opening night? And when I look back on last season, I felt like we didn't really wake up as a team until we lost to Norfolk State at home. You could even argue we lost to Longwood on the road. We have the opportunity to have a favorable schedule here. We probably have the best schedule for anyone at our level in the country. There's no other school at our level that's playing one road game in the conference now. Almost every high major you'll see do that, but we're lucky in that. So I looked at it and I thought last year it took probably till we lost to Missouri State even just for our guys to even start thinking about their weaknesses, because we had 4 relatively easy games at home to start, and then we had that UAB game where we played so well and were able to pull it out, but we still had so many weaknesses as a team. When I look at Furman, they're an extremely well-coached team. They're extremely disciplined. They have returners. They were picked second in their conference with a couple first-place votes. They do everything right every possession. It's going to tell our guys day one where we are, and if we have to grow in a lot of areas, we're going to know that November 4th rather than weeks down the line, and that's ultimately my goal for this game.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be a big test. NCAA tournament team as well. Furman has been in the past. It'll be a lot of fun, and that's going to be really exciting. And then, of course, you have the short term and the long term. We talked about this with Chelsea Mayberry as well. How do you balance the short and the long term? Each coach has a different way of looking at it. How do you kind of go about that?
The long term in terms of just building the program.
Yeah, building the program, and of course, I mean, goals. I mean, NCAA tournament, Big South, what it's going to be.
That's become, like I said, it's a little more of a win now situation. I mean, if we have a good season this season, that's the best recruiting tool we can have. So if I'm focused on next year's recruiting, well, really the only thing that truly matters to that is us having a good enough year this year that people won't come. That has changed in that way. We're not going to be signing a class of 6 guys in November, and they're coming regardless. It's how well we play the season. So I put a priority on being at practice. I have to miss one practice. That's hard to do when you're talking about recruiting. So that means every off day I'll go recruiting, but I haven't missed one practice. The way I see it is we have most of these guys, by the time they get on campus, for like 9 months, a lot of them total. The best thing I can do for recruiting is make sure they're ready to go, and then we have a good season. So that I kind of use the now to balance the future. That's how I look at it. We do what we're supposed to do: win this league, go to the tournament, hopefully beat somebody in the tournament, and recruit into these leagues next year. And our team next year will be great. If we don't, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tougher.
That's got to be tough, though, trying to find that
Yeah, I've definitely gone to the side of like I said, focusing on our team because I think that's the most important thing for recruiting. But you still, recruiting is probably more scouting. So when I go out and I go to Europe, like we have a week off in July, I'm in Europe watching FIBAs. It's not like I'm actively trying to get this player or that player. It's like I just want to know who's there. You also get to see who's going to these other schools, and you know, if he went to a school, I would really like him, you know. And so it's become a lot more scouting, but in terms of days off, you're right, it's been a lot. I mean, I don't think I had one in July or August because we got back on campus, and that's great. That's great. It's an advantage for guys like me who love the game, guys like our staff who love the game. You know, it's all basketball all the time, and that's an advantage I feel.
It's a terrific way to do it, and it seems like everybody's really excited about the season that's coming. Your players are really excited about UNCW and the exhibition, and it feels like there's a lot of positive vibes around High Point as well. It feels like it's going to be a really terrific season for you.
I think so. I mean, it starts with the fans. Our home court advantage has been off the charts. Like the Norfolk game is the only game we lost in the Cubane Center in regulation. We lost to Upstate in overtime, and then we lost to Long Island in overtime, and we lost to Norfolk State by 3 points. It's pretty good home court advantage right there. I'd like this year to be the first undefeated. That'd be great. But no, a ton of great energy, and you know, like I said, this Saturday, just taking more of a development game for us, and really a development game for them. But we're ramping up towards November 3rd, and then everything we do throughout the season is going to be ramping up towards Johnson City.
I remember that game against UNC Asheville last year. It was just slammed to the gills. I think it's still the most attended basketball game at the main center. I mean, that type of home court advantage. You're right. You have that type of advantage for your club. It can make such a big difference to what you guys are doing.
Makes a huge difference. I mean, our guys want to play in front of big time environments. We're the only school in this league that has a truly big time environment. And I mean, I thought about making graphics of the Asheville coaches. I heard them on a podcast talking about how every time they play here, that's what a college basketball game should be like, and every school in the league should want their environment to be like ours. That's one of our main competitors, and he's willing to say that.
That's terrific. I mean, that's a huge compliment too to what you guys have built throughout the last handful of years, and the future, like you said, that's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, people know about it. And the funny thing is, if you go around, like my dad lives in Los Angeles, and he wears his High Point basketball shirt, and people say, "Oh yeah, you guys got a good basketball team. You got," and it's followed up by, "Well, there's a lot more going on there," you know. And then they look that up and they say, "Wow," and that leads the kids come to school. I mean, but people notice the High Point brand because of basketball all over the country, and that's the goal of the time.
And that can make recruiting a lot easier as well when it becomes that national brand, I'm sure.
We become more of the cool kids, you know. I mean, it's a process. I feel like with local kids, wanting because they grow up in an environment where maybe High Point wasn't the basketball school that they were looking at, and that changes quickly. And their mindset probably doesn't change as quickly as say international kids or kids from other states. Local kids are now starting to want to be here. I would imagine we'll have more on next year's team. Now this year we didn't have any. We don't have any this year because it just didn't work out that way. We have kids from all over the world. But now we've become a destination. Say a kid goes out of state to play at whatever, Kentucky or something. If it doesn't work out there, they're going to be thinking, hey, High Point's the place I want to go. I just got contacted by a 5-star prospect who's top 50 in this country contacted me because they said, we've heard great things about High Point's development and their environment